So good to see everyone. Anyone who comes in, I'll let them in here. Great. Welcome to our February Council. We like to spend a little time here to kind of check in and see what we're scouting out there in our lives, in our hearts, out there in the world. So we're gonna, if you could just share your first name and where you're calling in from, so to speak. And if you'd like to share anything about what's alive for you right now, we can do that. But first, let's just drop in. So just an opportunity just to take a few breaths and arrive. In this endless now, this just this. We take a moment to take a pause from all the happening. Everything from before, everything moving forward into this present moment, so that we may quiet the mind, open the heart, and be open and available to what wants to speak to us in this moment, weaving through us in the celebration of the human spirit, in the celebration of all that is. Just a few breaths into your body, feeling it move through your limbs and out, an exhalation, feeling yourself just arriving and letting go. 3 of those at your pace. Very good. Very good. So I got back little maybe a week ago, or a little less than a week ago, and I was in New York. We were doing a show, releasing the record Lovingly, and then came from Costa Rica before that, doing a ceremony week, 3 ceremonies, group of 35 people. And I gotta say, before all that, I was feeling a lot of anxiety, a lot of humanity coming up, and just having to work with it. And that was not fun, working with all that. And yet, you step into it. And I'm still kind of processing the run up to that. But being back now this week has been such a relief to be what I like to consider as just a normal human for myself, where I can not be super concerned about exactly what's coming up next week, and we can cook dinners and get outside a little bit and just slow down. So I'm really happy to be here and to be in this space and to not have that weight in my solar plexus brewing up. And then amidst that, I've been talking a lot with Radha and some friends about just this idea of really holding concurrent and disparate emotions and feelings and ideas, and not necessarily having an answer to certain things, particularly with everything that's going on, but having working on being more and more comfortable with holding ambiguity and opposition and unknown, and actually feel like making a little progress there. And so it's just been an interesting space to be in, but I feel like really necessary. And Radha was remarking today how before the pandemic, I would always, often, I remember even probably in New York I said this, or I would be like, hey, we're really here to go inside, clear away the noise, and then we can hear what is already speaking to us, and working on a kind of inner fortitude, because that feels really necessary, especially with this intuition that the things we might face as a people will get more intense. And here we are, right? And I feel like there's even more. I'm not saying that to bum us out. I'm just saying, like, a validation for kind of, I heard Christian Doss say yesterday on a podcast, like, every time you drop into your heart, that actually is beneficial to the universe. Like, that's like a seed of creation of love. Like, that is like the ground level where we can then make action from and make right thinking from. That's where truth comes from. Truth being the highest good. So, recognizing the value of checking in, the value of feeling your feet on the ground, the value of quieting your mind and opening your heart as an exercise at times, because it's such an important, like, muscle, and like, to be like it's like a familiar friend or a familiar room, so that when things are getting like crazy, you know what that feels like. And it's like, oh yeah, I know what it's like to, like, drop into that and drop into that, and it's not complicated. It's a simple process. So that's what's alive for me. Let's open up the circle here, or the squares, as it were, and yeah, you can just raise your hand or whatever, just speak, unmute yourself. Yeah, what's alive right now? What's in your heart, or maybe it's just something in your community, or like it could be in this moment that we'd like to share.
I can start. Krishna, it's great to see you again. So,
Hey,
obviously, lots of integration after Costa Rica, and coming to a lot of realizations. And for me, I saw this quote that said, if you have to change for people, then those aren't your people. Like, don't change for your surroundings, pick better surroundings. And what's really been sitting with me and resonating with me is, where am I spending my energy? Like, where am I? What's really starting to resonate with me is who's in my life. And I've been having to really face some very difficult things as you're going down this journey of people judging the path that I'm on, and really having to say goodbye to a lot of familiar things. And there's I saw this other quote that was like, there's comfort in the panic. And it's almost like there's comfort in the familiarity, where it's like, even if it doesn't serve you, there's still comfortability in it just because you know it. And so I'm breaking away from that and really trying to understand who my true self is, and getting into my mind and my heart. And it's really starting to open up these doors for me of, like, who should I have in my life? Where should I be spending my time? And like, I'm leaving for work tomorrow morning. Oh, sorry, Aaron and Steph. Sorry, I should have at least said my first name here. We're new. This is our first meeting here. We both joined, and
and what
very.
what city are you in?
We're in Evergreen, Colorado. So
Okay.
we're just outside Denver, and we're up in the mountains in Evergreen. So, but we made some big moves over the last year, and so for us, I think, I'm very proud of us for taking the steps that we have, but they're not easy steps to take. And so for me, it's really having the courage to face, like, where should I be spending my time, and what do I want? It's always like the question we all ask ourselves, like, what do you want to do with your life? Right. And so I'm 46, and I'm finally starting to, I think, understand where I really want to spend my time. But what's really in my heart is, I get frustrated at times because I try to approach the world with as much love and peace as I can, and that's not always reciprocated. And I can't let the world change who I am as a person. Again, I just need to kind of put myself in better surroundings. And so that's really what's resonating with me right now, is saying goodbye to people that probably don't serve me, and really trying to figure out, don't make any rash decisions and, like, quit my job tomorrow, but, like, trying to understand really what my next steps are going to be in life. So,
Yeah. Thank you,
yeah.
Stephanie.
Hi,
What? Yeah, you
Stephanie.
want to
Yeah,
share since you're there?
yeah, sure. For me, I think since we were in Costa Rica, lots of integration coming in, and for me in general, how I've like lived my life is pushing through everything and hurrying up, and time is, I'm behind, and I feel that now I'm actually able to somewhat kind of settle into more of like a relaxing slow pace, and like I'm not missing anything, and like just like kind of be instead of trying to make things happen. Like also like just let things come in. I don't have to do anything or force anything. And I think for me specifically, it's a very different way of living. And also just I think, yeah, listening to my intuition more instead of like my brain. That is always like telling me I'm behind or I should be doing something or making money or whatever, and more just like a knowing of like it's a different sense. I don't know how to explain it other than that. So
I feel
just
it.
kind of
Yeah.
slowing down and being present.
Hmm. Hmm. Kevin?
Hi. Um, Good to be here, everyone. I'm living here on the west coast of Vancouver Island, small town. Um, yeah, and yeah, super grateful to be here. And I guess just reflecting on like what I want to share. And um, I think for me, yeah, this last week has been pretty profound with the just the big changes. It's like my best friend, uh, guide, shaman, teacher over 17 years passed away about a week ago, and yeah, I didn't realize he passed away on the 12th, and then on the 14th, uh, came home from work and got a couple grams of mushrooms and some chocolates and put on lovingly and laid there for 6 hours and uh, yeah, he was there the whole time. I felt his energy there, and we've been working pretty close the last couple of months, especially. He's been helping me with some inner work I've been neglecting for a really long time. So um, yeah, and so um, it was a really profound journey, and of course, the music just went with such a support and just brought out so much in the journey, and uh, yeah, I just felt everything that he's been sharing with me landed right on my heart so fully, and and then after the journey, I voice messaged him, and I said, "Hey, Brad, man, like I just had this journey, and I just want you to know, like everything you've been sharing with me I feel like viscerally landed, and thank you so much. I love you, brother." And 2 days later, I found out he had passed away unexpectedly. So um, yeah, it was yeah. So it's been a couple of days of just processing all that, and so much gratitude and grief, of course, too, and so yeah, feeling so much. And so it's been feels like a lot of opening happening for me recently, and opportunities coming up as well through just different areas of life, and just feeling kind of the veil's real thin right now for me. So I'm just really grateful for my life, and for the opportunity to be here and to share with all of you, of course. And so yeah, thanks for receiving.
Condolences, Kevin. Thank you.
I'll
Brady?
share. Hey,
Hi.
it's been a minute. Um, yeah, I'm really grateful to be here tonight. Already everything that everyone shared it just resonated with me as well. Um, for me right now, I'm opening back up space in my life. I'm saying no to some things this year. Um, I have a tendency to say yes, and I really like to be on the move. I really like to make a lot of sound and just bring myself fully into life. But I overcommit because of that too. And then I end up I either end up suffering or I don't put time into the things that matter most for me. So I think the hardest choice that I've made in the last or this year so far was saying no to continuing to lead kirtan. The guy I was playing kirtan with here in Salt Lake moved down to Arizona, and that was October, and I'd been leading it since then. And it gives me so much energy, but it was taking so much energy to coordinate and manage this and get all the musicians together to play every single month. We needed to practice where we didn't when Alec was there also. So there was just like so much more involvement in it. And I just have too much right now in my life. And so I had to pause that. And that's a big like opening of space for me and energy potentially to figure out what I want to refill that with, or maybe I don't refill it with anything right now, is another potential, because I haven't felt centered, I'd say, in a year and a half ish, like really centered for a long period of time. It's just been a lot of sprinting and energy into work, into life, into learning also. I work in AI essentially, so I'm using AI all the time, which gets me very much in my head and words, right? Because it's LLMs, so it's just language all the time. And I end up bringing this like same cycle of really creative energy, but very active energy into like I go from my basement to upstairs for work, right? So I don't even have like a decompressing period. So allowing myself more space to decompress, get more established again in my yoga practice, like opening the space to practice again in general, just the practices that slow me down and get me present and get me here. That's my intention right now in life. And I'm holding off on listening fully to Lovingly until Friday when I can have an experience. And this is helping me set intentions. So yeah, thank you for this space.
Thank you, Brady. Good to see you again. Yes. Dan?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, this council has given me the opportunity to think back to the last council and where I was then, which was my first a month ago. And I remember I was coming off of like illness ripping through my family, and was but also the beautiful snow outside my window, and I think a few other people's windows. I'm here in New York City on the Hudson River, Upper West Side of Manhattan. Unfortunately, I was out of town for the show last Friday. Really wish I could have been there. Um, and now coming off a week of a different kind of health crisis in my family. Things are okay. But I had 3 or 4 harrowing days with my son in the ER and stuff. He's okay. But I'm realizing, and then sandwiched in the middle of that, a whole lot of creative activity. I'm kind of like launching 2 like major new projects for myself, like one with my like art for art's sake, and one for my kind of work for a living's sake, and devoting a lot of creative energy to those, and starting to see the fruits of that, which has really been beautiful. And I'm grateful for the way yeah, spaces like this one, and the work I've been doing to kind of be connected with myself has given me, I think, resilience to be able to move around, get get through um, get through things, and be even in really heated moments when might have been difficult in the past. So grateful for that. Grateful for you and for all of you to, you know, be here and help to create spaces like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Josh, your hand was up.
Yeah, thank you. Josh from Stamford, Connecticut. And I too was at the Costa Rica event. And sorry to miss the Valentine's Day event. I really would have liked to be there with my wife. Um, Hopefully there'll be another time. So this winter for me has been one of like slowing down quite a bit. And there's a David Whyte poem called The Winter of Listening, and it kind of describes exactly um, what that experience has been like for me. And I just found it last week, and but it's basically, it goes in hand with what people have been sharing here of wanting to slow down and create spaciousness and letting some of the things that need to die fall off, and being very careful about what I let fill that space. And in my case, when I do feel pressure to add things, I try to lean into things gently and gradually. And I'm very grateful that I have the space to do that in my life right now. Um, my children keep me busy enough throughout the day, but I don't have a full-time job at the moment. And this winter, I've really been spending a lot of time exploring the nature in my own backyard. I'm finishing up a 40-day sit spot tomorrow, and it was an online community, much like this one, but had daily access to my local sit spot. And it was like one of these things that I was like, let me try it. It's an opportunity to experience something new, and opportunity to connect with new people in a new format, and try to, much like this, like let things sing through me. And I really liked it. And I'm also in a kirtan group that's on break right now, Brady. So I'm on the receiving end, being one of the students. So it's hard when those 40-day satsangs end. I get a little anxious. Those are one of the spaces that I really miss. I'm not trying to fill it with anything at the moment, but I'm looking forward to that starting again. And yeah, I just feel a ton of gratitude for the experience that we had, for the people that were in Costa Rica. And Krishna, thank you for that. Still very much that is weaving into my days here and there. And some of the songs, even, and some of the moments are just kind of on the background. So I did have a chance to listen to Lovingly on my couch at 9 o'clock in the morning the other day, and I found myself waking up 2 hours later and continuing on throughout the afternoon, letting it be the soundtrack of my day. And it was really nice. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to doing a deep dive on it. Yeah, but I guess that kind of brings me up to date. And thank you.
And you told me that your group, that you'd sit in the same spot for a month. I think you said it was supposed to be by water, right? Of any kind. Is that right?
No, mine happened to be in a river, but most of the people were in
Oh,
a
it did.
forest in
Oh, it could be
Georgia.
anywhere.
Yeah, it could be anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
but
never mind.
Tributary was a
Yeah.
great soundtrack for that. Yeah.
That's a cool idea, though. Yeah. Tommy, you want to go, or Doug, Margot? Yeah, Tommy,
I mean, I'll
you want to
talk.
jump in? Okay, Margot.
Um, yeah, integrating after Costa Rica was a bit challenging, I think, for the first week and a half, something like that. Um, for some reason, we had gone on to see a little bit more of Costa Rica, and that kind of got a little janky in my system. And so coming back here, then it's taken a little bit of time, but I like what you said at the beginning, Krishna, about having your feet on the ground and opening your heart, because I kind of had to sink back into that and remember who I am. And I've had a couple instances at work where I've realized people just want to be seen, and they just want to be seen, and they want to be understood. And I've had that, I don't know, they were really cool interactions with kind of maybe people who were a little on edge or angry or I don't know, something. And I was just able to like be there with them and see them and understand them. And it really changes the dynamic of them coming at you. And then you turn and you just open your heart and you connect to the earth and you're just like, dude, I see you and I understand that this is frustrating for you. And that just flips the switch and changes their attitude. So I had a couple really cool interactions with that. Today, we facilitated for one of my longtime friends using the Lovingly album, and that was amazing. I love that, but I've been listening to that a lot. Um, it was his first journey, and it was really, really, it's always such a pleasure and an honor and just whatever to like witness somebody entering the medicine for the first time. So really super grateful for that. But yeah, and it's good to see everybody, and I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
I think for me,
Oh, by the way, I'm Margot, and we're in Columbus, Ohio. Sorry.
so I just feel like, know the community. We all know each other. Um, yeah, I think for me, well, the good thing coming out of so last year doing the event, like came back and kind of discovered yoga, and so then the whole family was doing yoga, and now coming back, we're all into ecstatic dance. So when we went to Nasara, we found an ecstatic dance on that Sunday, and we all participated and all loved it. And then I came back to Columbus and I found a local community that does it every week. And then they had like a special Friday night that we all went to. And so like now we've added ecstatic dance thanks to
Nice.
the event. So it's awesome how these practices integrate. But one of the things that I've been kind of dealing with my company, and it came up in the final journey, was truly leading with love and like making a what on paper and everything is seems like the right corporate decision, but like making the decision based on love that includes people, real people, um, and like I said, it's being real tough to navigate with my business partner because like he doesn't understand it at all because it's like it's not the right corporate decision, but it's like it's it's love and art and the soul of people that have gotten us here to this point, um and so standing for that, it's been kind of an interesting trying to integrate that and actually make it really happen in my work. Has been a really interesting week and a half, but like it's I mean leading with love, that's what it just needs to happen, and that's no matter how painful it is or how tough it's going to be the right decisions. I'm still navigating that.
Hmm. Beautiful.
Good to be able to hear everybody and arrive. I'm Tommy. I'm over in Charlotte, North Carolina area, the land of the sugary and the Catawba peoples. Um, I'm feeling really grounded. I've I'm feeling really grounded in this season. Um, I think had I still been like having to go to the hospital as a nurse and do bedside like nursing like I used to do a few years ago, it would have been a really different season for me. I could um, tend to my body differently this winter, and kind of in a space of emerging out of that. We're getting ready to launch some community gatherings with my company and welcome people and teach them circle and counsel and um, introduce some new ways of practicing alternative economies. Um, we were in discussion around like instead of sort of like putting our energy towards um, all of the fear, how could we use that excitement to learn new skills and to practice the world we want to live in with each other through mutual aid and alternative economies. And so really getting ready to launch that and excited to welcome people in. And um, I I've never woven before, so I've like got to weave an art piece. I'm teaching circle to my spiritual community too in a couple of weeks collaboratively with one of my partners. And for the centerpiece, we're making this sort of well at the center, but it'll have the four directions woven into it. And so as I've been weaving, I've been like tuned into my body and thinking about like the repetitive motions and like the things that come up in that. And just like as I had thought about people and they came up, I would check in. And so it's really beautiful and kind of lovingly to float along in that process. And we've been going to bed with the album on, and I have a couple of different playlists of different arrangements that I kind of like call peace or introspection with different albums pieced together from you and different other people. And so it's been really, I was like, when I listened to it the first time I was like, I'm excited to guide with this. These are going to be really gentle, really tender experiences. And so just grateful to be here, grateful to be in this time of awakening and this time of practice. Um, so thank you all.
Thank you. Hmm. I'm feeling like this, this overarching emergence of kind of like very much opening to all that is in all the different ways and all the different flavors and depths, and like the seeing all that is and the self being a part of that. Uh, and in that being a lot about spaciousness, slowing down, but it's all different ways I feel like of talking about forms that we're feeling really essentially alive, really present, like really like a being conscious. And in that, I think we know inherently that there is nothing to do. And sometimes that can be challenging for me, at least, to accept in this world. Because paradoxically, there are things to do, or like just there's things happening, but at the same time, like what if, in the meta sense, you get that idea that it's all okay and there's nothing you need to learn. You don't need to earn anything. Or as my buddy Court Johnson says, like all choices are valid and everybody graduates. And if you really try that on, it's pretty radical because I mean everybody graduates. We're time rich. So I'm hearing a lot about in essence it's about trust. I think it's sort of a glue that's underpinning many of our stories tonight. But we have a few minutes here. What else? What's emerging as we're hearing the weaving from anyone else? If you'd like to add a few thoughts, if at all.
I I'll say I think I'm noticing a what I heard collectively is a commitment to authenticity, a commitment to turning towards and showing up for the people that are in our presence, but also showing up for ourselves in that way, like honoring the ungroundedness, honoring the chaos, of the moment. And I think that's really radical and different in a world that tries to distract us from turning to each other in the name of profit and extraction. And so that's what I noticed.
I love that. I've been thinking a lot about what is counterculture and that being valuable, because assuming the culture is, unsustainable or destructive. So in a way, turning towards is counter, in a sense. That is a countercultural action. What else do you think is counterculture these days? I also think doing one thing at a time is counterculture.
I've been wrestling I've been feeling the collective anxiety like massively in the
Yeah.
last 2 months, 3 months, right? Like I feel like I'm carrying so much. Today on my walk with my dog, I realized like three-quarters of the way through, like, why have my thoughts been about Donald Trump and Elon Musk so much on my walk, right? Like, and it's like, this is like too much to handle. And I have this, eh, I, I'm in this space where I'm like, okay, I'm not doing anything about this. I can't do anything about this. And so I kind of just want to tune it out entirely and like let it go and just disconnect for a time. But then I also have this piece of me that it's like, I do want to be informed and I want to understand like what is happening. So I have a little dichotomy in that space. But counterculture, social media and how you engage with it maybe, or and not letting it get the best of you. That's another space where I tune out instead of tune in, but I kind of question myself on that too, is how can I tune in but in the right ways too. So there's just these big like they're dangerous zones. I feel like they're just like traps for attention. They're traps to just like suck me in and take over so much of my thought and life. And but they're also incredible tools. And so, yeah,
The word
it's a weird
danger
space.
is, I think, a key is interesting because in a lot of ways, we're having fight or flight responses to all sorts of things. We're animals, right? So it's natural, and it's not. We can accept these parts of ourselves, like we are scared at times, and so that's that. I feel that too. Like you want to push something away, you just want to flight. It's like I don't want this. I just
Mm.
want to put my head in the sand. Or there's that energy of like anger or fight or anxiety of like I need to act, I need to act or protect, um, and it's normal. It's normal. Kevin?
Yeah, so around the counterculture thing, I remember when I was like 19 or something, I had this counterculture t-shirt and it had a star on the front and in tiny, tiny letters it said positive resistance like 100 times. And I think that those two words like come through for me. Um, and just like flipping the script, with like how we relate to the world and how we relate to ourselves, I guess, and essentially dropping the story or just like um, I don't know. I guess like ultimately what I'm maybe pointing to is just seeing the bigger picture and that, um, life is so precious and beautiful and, people are, getting like, manipulated by government and politics, religion, all these things. But it's like none of it matters. This is the point, I think, is that we can be in the story of uh, we're this or we're that, and get sucked into that mind, the mind games, and it's perpetuates. But I think that, um, yeah, just like flipping the script and like making a positive story for us as entities, and like whatever it is, like just to be gentle with ourselves, be kind to ourselves, and enjoy. Like it was, that's the one thing that came through for me on the journey the other night was like, life is so precious. And I just had so much compassion for myself and everyone in my life. And I just was like, yeah, like sending love bombs to everyone and then just laughing like I've never laughed before, you know, and it was just this like nothing fucking matters, you know, enjoy this life. And so that's it. And I think like that's what I'm trying to say. And this is part of the beauty of it is to be able to share with our fellow earthwalkers and souls, you know, as we do what we do here on Earth. So yeah, thanks for receiving that.
Kevin, that was beautiful. I appreciate you sharing that. And Brady, please tell me that the Dumb and Dumber bobblehead behind you. I think I spotted the orange tuxedo from Jim Carrey. I would that would be amazing if that was, but I will say this, you know, counterculture, you know, when you actually like start to break down what that could be, you know, like being kind is almost like counterculture. So you think about like how indoctrinated we are when you're being raised, you know, I mean, so much negativity and you know, Brady, you hit the nail on the head. It's like these thoughts start creeping into your mind and you're like, why am I worrying about this right now when in reality you're just going to try to be grounded and be at peace? But you know, as I said, you know, over the last couple of years I've been on this transformational journey and I'm trying to unlock my true self, and a lot of how I like to approach the world is with kindness and love. And there's a lot of resistance to that. People think I'm angling for something, people aren't receptive. And so counterculture, I think, probably has a big piece of just being kind, right? I mean, you know, we're so ingrained in the world of negativity, and to create that division, and you got to pick a side. But when you actually think about the true definition of oneness, right? Like we're all a part of everything and nothing all at once. And like it or love it, we're all a part of the same universe. And so, Christian, I think, you know, when you said counterculture, you know, I think there's a lot of definitions that have been put out there. But for me, it means going against the grain and not allowing society to change who I am, you know, and trying to remain as kind of a person as I possibly can be, because I love to love hard. And at times that has hurt me tremendously, but I can't let that change who I am, because I'm just going to love you that much harder and try to receive the world for what it is. But you know, so for me, I think counterculture was really just about my approach to the world and not feeding in, you know, to kind of what was indoctrinated into me early on. So
Well, in many ways, the world is a place of mind, and so you know maybe the counter to the culture is our hearts, opening our hearts. It's a good segue. If you have headphones, this would be a time to get them or make yourself comfortable, and we'll get into our guided experience here, riffing off of this. This is a piece of music actually from Costa Rica. It looks like the Friday, but yeah, let's drop into this. So find a way to get comfortable. Find a way to be in your body, in the space, and just be undisturbed for a little bit. And as we breathe, we recognize that we can quiet the mind just by breathing into our body and focusing our attention. That's good. Doing that at your pace as we attune to listening. Feeling the pulsations of our heartbeat, of our lungs expanding and contracting, points of our body touching the floor or a chair. feeling our aliveness in form. Alive in this moment. With each breath, we are opening wider and wider. Let it take its time. There's nowhere for us to go but in this spaciousness. In this fertility of the happening. Any tension you feel in your body or resistance, thoughts that might be hanging on, anxiety, we can turn towards it and lean in, breathe in. Holding it like a small child, letting it rest. Lovingly. Just continuing to breathe and being in this space. Opening, expanding and deepening, slowing down. We don't have to be the director of the show. We can trust that breathing is enough. Consciousness is form. It is love. It is acceptance. To love is to accept what is. All that is. The self inside it all. Leaning in, falling in, letting go. life as a great trust fall. Just continuing to breathe, just being here, allowing it to flow. Slowing down is just arriving to the fullness, the oneness of all that is. To love is not to change anything. It is to hold with compassion and acceptance the beauty of creation. The trust of divinity that you are too. And so is all that is. trust. Release. Landing. Arriving and remembering. Being. Just taking a few more breaths. Allowing it to soften into your own body and recognizing there's nowhere to go and it's always there. You can take a few final breaths and we'll close our meditation. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you for everything that's been flowing through all of us. This weaving feels really special. Always a reminder, always a returning. And that we can sing one another awake is so beautiful. So beautiful. Well, we are at the hour, but thank you for showing up with such open hearts, and thank you for listening. That was really, really beautiful for me too. And I hope to see you again soon. And keep walking with as much openness as you can, and take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves, and continue to nourish in all the ways you can. Beautiful. Blessings, friends. Blessings.